Okay, so I'm sitting in front of this 85 420. 420s have a couple of problem areas that we need to inspect before we decide on if we want to spend a lot of money on this machine, not spend a lot of money on this machine, so on and so forth. One of those big ticket items, which I think last time I looked, we're talking like $275, is this pulley that drives the drive shaft for the mower deck. Now, when I bought it, I did look at it, and it does have some wobble to it. Now, a lot of people complain that these pulleys wear out, and the pulleys do wear out. The splines will wear out on the shaft down here, if you can see that shaft. But that is actually a good thing, because you don't want equal wear on both. You want one to wear instead of the other. So it's actually good that this wears over time. I mean, you put 1,000 or so hours on it, you're going to expect something to wear out. Now, the cost of these that's up for debate. They're obviously not cheap. So what we have to do is we have to take the belts off of this. To do that, we have to let loose this tensioner right here. Now, the 420s came with two different types of tensioners. There's this tensioner right here, and there's also a scissor type tensioner, which I'm going to try to find some pictures of. If not, I'll have to show you on a frame that I have. But the scissor type tensioner, there's actually a couple bars that are in here that push out on this wheel right here. This type of tensioner, it's just this bolt right here, 15 millimeter bolt. There's a jam nut right here. We're going to loosen the jam nut, and then we're going to loosen the bolt, which will move. There's a rod right here, and there's also, if you look back underneath there, down in here, there's a rod that this plate glides on, so it's not an unsupported plate. I can't remember what year that was switched. Trying to remember what year it was switched, but I can't remember. But this rod right here is actually attached on the outside of the frame, so you can move this rod if you so choose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you up here in the tripod, and we're going to, I'm going to get the tripod adjusted here, and we will loosen up this these belts, to see if there's play in this pulley. If there's play in the pulley, we'll obviously have to spend a significant amount of time to, actually not really as significant, but you will have to spend some time getting to that pulley, take it off to inspect it. So now, all we have to do is loosen this up. Overall, this is not that complicated. The scissor type is a little bit more complicated. In fact, I think I may have a few parts of the scissor type in the shop here. In fact, when I get this off, I may go see if I can find that. So, even though this is loose, you need to be able to push it all the way back, so you just have to keep loosening this up. And you can see this is kind of gliding along both this post and the post that you can't see in the video. Okay. Now we can push that back, and now we can take our belts off. All right. Now we can see if our pulley is loose. Oh, yep. Not all that shocking. In fact, very common. So not too much of a shock there. Like I said, it's pretty common. This is going to wobble. That is unfortunate, however. It certainly doesn't bode well for this tractor, and there's not enough that I could. There's not enough. It would have to be replaced if I was going to sell this machine. So, a couple other things that I've noticed on this machine, aside from this pulley here, it's got a crack on the back frame, and also, where's it at? There was something here. Anyway, there was another problem I found with it the other day. But this being loose is certainly not all that good of a sign. So let me go see if I can find those parts to that scissor tension mechanism, and I'll show you those real quick. So I was only able to find two parts. So we have this part right here, which is actually two of these, and it basically there were two of these, and it scissored out like that. And then this one on the other one, it pushed out. So basically it kind of was like a scissor jack and pushed out and came back in. But that was the other style. I don't know exactly which one would be better. You can see on this one, or I think you can, how much wear these would get on them, basically kind of scissoring back and forth. I don't necessarily know if I'd have a preference one or the other. The scissor type, so this type, actually makes the PTO a little harder to get at, particularly everything in the front, because there's a metal track across the front of the machine. So that is kind of my take on the tensioning mechanisms. So that's it for this video. Figured it was just a really quick, inspection. We're going to continue going through this little inspections at a time, just trying to figure out what we want to do, kind of evaluate the machine. I now remember what I was going to show you, and it's relatively minor, but there is a hole in the exhaust of this machine. It does run relatively well. The engine is from 1997, so H9737. It is a H-spec Onan P220, so it is a newer engine, but we'll keep inspecting it. It does creep some. That's not too terribly big a deal. But right now, the biggest thing is we've got $275 for a pulley up front. We need a new seat, which I guess we could borrow this seat. And we need one rear replacement rim, because the two rims are actually opposite of one another. So we're gonna have to work on that a little bit. I don't have one's a flat style and one is a dish style, and that had to do with Deere and how they've switched suppliers for a little while. I can't remember how all that went down, but basically there's a few things in there that we need to, that I would probably have to get some history on. But I'll keep digging through it and we'll go from there. If you have questions, leave them below. Thanks for watching.